You drinking pickle juice out of a jar?
This?
Yeah.
This is piss.
Who's piss?
My own piss, come on.
Yeah, wow, it looks dehydrated.
So am I. Do you know that?
Maybe drink some fresh water.
Do you know how they say piss is sterile when it comes out?
Who?
They. The great unknown, the numerous other.
Yeah.
I only found out that's not true recently. It's bollocks.
This is why I questioned who's been saying that.
People who drink their own piss say it a
Right,
lot.
okay.
When they go on Good Morning Britain.
Yeah, it's one of your shows.
People send me clips when they know it's relevant to my interests.
Wow, piss has been mentioned again on GMB, straight to Sean Morley.
Yeah, sure we'll want this.
Yeah.
You know how I only like about 3 things, and whenever anything happens like that in the Twitter sphere, I get the same DM from 5 people. Just piss is one of them. Piss specifically intersecting with morning TV, terrestrial TV. They've mentioned piss again on Loose Women. Let me ring Sean. Put him on FaceTime.
Hello, and welcome to the last mandatory redistribution party of 2021. My name is Jack Lewis Evans.
And my name is Sean Morley.
Since the previous episode, we reached out to you, our esteemed listeners, for questions you would like us to answer. And if you like the concept of us answering questions, then buddy, pal, friendo, is this the ep for you?
We cover everything from the ethics of podcast merch, the link between autism and communism, and some near-the-knuckle egg evaluation.
If you are banked up and wish to offset the lavish costs of our end-of-year mince pie-a-thon, you can chuck us a monthly stocking filler over at patreon.com/mandatory redistribution party.
And I invite you to join me on my New Year's resolution to tell my friends and family about the podcast via long, complimentary rants, or by stenciling the RSS feed QR code on the side of the abandoned ice rink for urban explorers to see.
As our mutual mental health and vital spirit energy sinks into the abyss, we are taking a short well-being break and shall return in February 2022 with new and cool Mandos content. It's going to be good.
And this is going to be good. This is our office Christmas party.
Are we in office?
This is our workplace, end of year, let your hair down. It's time to go wild.
But we actually like each other. That's not like a workplace.
Even though, we're friends and we did this of our own volition, no one forced us to do it. I nevertheless feel, guys, in my soul, a need to push back against some kind of the man type figure.
Yeah. Okay, so what do we do? Just get absolutely fucked and get off?
First, we need to get absolutely off our face.
Yeah.
Preferably on Schlur.
Is Schlur alcoholic? I've never had Schlur. I've seen
If you have enough of it, you go weird.
That applies to almost anything.
Yeah. But we have the Schlur.
Right, let's crack open the Schlur.
Oh, yeah.
Schlur. Wait, how are we going to cop off with each other if we're through a screen?
We could just ASMR. Quiet. Just ASMR it. Should we smash some equipment?
Yeah, let's do that before the kissing.
Yeah, well, keep kissing, but I'm going to smash my PC up.
Yeah.
I can't hear you anymore. Jack, are you there? Jack!
My balls!
Matthew Plater asks, how's the Haunted Social Club going, Jack?
Okay, yeah, this is a reference to the Northern Counter Powerhouse episode from ages ago. Okay, so it's... how would that be going? Dreadfully. The ghost has got COVID. they've got COVID. It's only a mild case, but they've been boosted because obviously they're in the higher age category, and also
highest age category.
Yeah, really. They're like, I assume they're from the Victorian era, so they're like 200 years old. I can't actually remember what we made up for the ghost's specific death in nature. I'm guessing Victorian. Most ghosts are Victorian, right? When you think of a ghost,
they always are, aren't they?
Most ghosts are early modern, from the sort of Cromwellian era into Victorian. That's your ghost, baseline ghost.
Never get a Neolithic ghost.
No, or like a 90s ghost.
Yeah, you never get a ghost of someone who just died very recently. Someone who knows all the same things as you.
Yeah, insta ghost. Yeah, what was life like back like then? What, yesterday?
It was raining.
Yeah. A poltergeist that's scrolling through your TikTok feed.
Poltergeist that has a phone.
Yeah. It's really you have to hold up your phone because it can't touch stuff. And it's like, yeah, can you just scroll to it for me?
Yeah, scroll down. Can you like that?
No,
don't like that.
Don't like that. Yeah, I don't want that.
Unlike.
Yeah, I don't want that showing in my feed. It shows other people what you've liked.
Mute them.
Yeah, actually, that's fair. That's fair. Thanks, Ghost. So the Ghost has got a mild case of, I don't know how they got their fucking booster. I don't know how they got vaxxed if the syringe would go through.
Makes it even easier, surely.
Yeah, you just squirt it in, but don't even need just flick it at them.
You could just blow it at them with a bellows.
No, that's Ghosts hate wind.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, so the Ghosts got COVID, which is real bad, so they're having to isolate. But actually, it's not contagious off a ghost. And also, obviously, the whole thing's gone out of business because of the combination of either lockdowns with minimal financial support or the bits where they were just like saying, don't go to anything.
But it's open.
So we're not putting any financial support in. So we had to pull loads of gigs. And actually, yeah, so the Haunted Social Club is all boarded up and it's got a ghost in it with COVID. That's your answer.
There we go. Luke asks, how do you see the inevitable extinction of human life on Earth panning out? I think I said in a previous episode that I'd like it to be a natural disaster.
Yes.
I'd like it to be something where all the human race can have a single moment of togetherness and go, well, not our fault.
Like looking up at a meteor type thing.
Do you know, I love reading about Krakatoa. I'm a big Krakatoa head. Yeah. Krakatoa, it put out the eardrums of people 1,000 miles away. It changed the Earth for a little bit. Anything remotely near it.
You'd like Yellowstone to pop or something. Yeah.
Just a massive thing exploded, and we can all go very quickly. Let's say it very quickly.
Yeah.
Not my fault.
Yeah. Well, me.
I didn't do this. I don't even know anyone who did this. But what I think probably will happen, because I don't think, no one's gunning to destroy all human life, right? That's no one's plan. There's no supervillains.
Well, there's a lot of people who know that their actions are extremely detrimental to human life.
But they don't want all of them to die because they still want menial labour, right? So they don't want them to die.
Yeah.
They just want to see how far you can push the hydraulic press onto a skull before it pops. Yeah. But during that time when the press is coming on, they still want the owner of that skull to clean the house.
Yeah. Fuck.
So I think the only thing that would destroy all human life would be some technocratic experiment that gets out of hand, something like a grey goo kind of thing.
Yeah.
You'll know about grey goo because you're Jack Evans.
Venom.
Or like a Venom, from Spider-Man? Yeah,
do you mean grey goo, the RTS game made by former Westwood Studios Command & Conquer developer?
No, I've got no idea what you're talking about.
What do you mean by grey goo? I don't get it.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. So, sci-fi music sting bed roll out. So grey goo, as I understand it, it's just any kind of like nanomachines that can reassemble matter, and then they go off and just go, I've got a fault in my programming, and now I turn everything into a lovely scone. And then you go, I don't want that to be a scone. It's like the tale of King Midas. But it's goo turning everything to scones, and it approaches you and your family, and then your dog becomes a scone, your beautiful family becomes a scone. You watch yourself be turned into little scones, and after you're dead, they just go on and turn everything into scones. And then like Elon Musk over goes, I just wanted a lot of scones, but I didn't shut the right bracket. Oh well, I'll be fine on Mars.
Yeah. Where's human civilization? It's gone.
That's great. That's great. If this is a film, that would be the tagline.
Yeah. I'm trying to be more optimistic because you say Luke says the inevitable extinction of human life. And I get what you mean. The human life eventually in 2 billion years or whatever, when the sun gets so hot that it like destroys all life on Earth, everything, the plants can't survive, or like the moon. That's the bad one. That's the bad natural. The moon makes the Earth's tilt less bad. So if the moon wasn't moderating the Earth's tilt, the Earth would just be tilting like mad in its orbit, and then it just completely all the climate extremes would be like day after tomorrow. Do you know that one?
That would get us.
That's one of the moon apocalypses, yeah.
And the moon's coming as well. The moon's on the way here.
Oh, the moon's on the moon's going further and further away. So it will it's going the other way. And then it will eventually, because its moderating force on the Earth's tilt will fade. And that's how I'd like to go. But it's billions of years away, so we won't see that. But we have to be hopeful and optimistic, and will ourselves to be hopeful and optimistic, not in a delusional way. And let's not get into how the correlation between depression and accurate analyses of situations. But I think kind of capital wants us powerless and hopeless, because if nothing can ever change, then you just consume in order to numb the pain of existence. You have nice food or read nice things or play nice video games or watch nice films in order to numb the pain of knowing that nothing can ever get better because you have hardly any agency in your life. So like, we have to believe that it can be better. So I reject Luke's premise of inevitable extinction of human life, other than the sun swallowing.
I was going to say
sun or moon death.
But you're getting on a soapbox claiming you're going to fix the sun.
No. I'm going to, my effect on the sun will be nothing or maybe somehow negative.
Yeah, graffiti.
Actually, no, optimism. Maybe I'll make the sun better.
Yeah, make the sun nicer. Make it hotter.
Yeah. I'm going to say thank you to the sun.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Sun.
Thank you.
Dovetailing that into a question from T. Morris.
Right.
Who says, leftist energy seems to have given way to a tense mundanity and defeat due to Keir Starmer and COVID.
Oh, I don't want to talk about that fucking scumbag.
This one sentence, and here's the question.
Okay.
What big event or happening would you instigate to use as a catalyst to return us all to having possibility?
Keir Starmer explodes, splattering like a juicy ham explosion. Like, and he just pops.
So just straight away like a detonation, or do you want him to expand before the pop like a balloon?
He is in Parliament and he's farting some nonsense, some like procedural waffle at the Prime Minister while voting all this shit through. He's going like, Keir Starmer, Keir Starmer, and then you hear like sort of little fart noise, and then everyone's like, Keir, are you okay? Keir, Sir Keir, and then he balloons, he floats above the House of Commons. Keir Starmer, I've got a knighthood. And he's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and then everyone in the House of Commons is splattered by his pink slime that's inside him. What was the question?
I think we just said Keir Starmer, and he saw red. And
yeah, I didn't hear the second half of the question. What was the question?
What big event or happening would you instigate to use as a catalyst to return us all to having possibility?
Big events that change stuff happen in the context of lots of other stuff, don't they? So like if you have a big event without an infrastructure to bring about any meaningful change, then no meaningful change will come about. Take like Bloody Sunday in 1905 in Russia, right? So you have a peaceful protest of tens of thousands of people in the streets of St. Petersburg. They believe the Tsar is their ally just for some reason, and are led by a priest of the Orthodox Church to do this to give a petition to the Tsar, like classic, if we give a petition and ask nicely, the powerful might help us. And their petition was really basic. It was like, please, can we have a trade union? And they go to the palace, and then the Tsar's men just fully open fire. Well, it's not because they don't have machine guns. It's like kill a load of them. everyone's pissed off. Everyone kicks off then, and there's like the whole of Russia is like put into turmoil. That happens in January 1905. The government really doesn't consolidate its power until October, November 1905 because of the repressive powers of the Tsarist state and the weaknesses of the various opposition groups for various reasons. They achieved fuck all, apart from the Tsar introduced like a shit pretend parliament thing called the Duma to appease the kind of liberal middle class or whatever. It was basically just like a bullshit nonsense institution. Because if you have a big catalyst thing like that, which in other circumstances could bring about a revolution, if you haven't done the long-term work beforehand, or there isn't a context that can bring the other stuff about, then it's not going to happen. Like the shared suffering of World War II and the proof of the idea that state intervention can do things and that kind of shared suffering, that would catalyze the establishment of like the NHS in some ways, et cetera, et cetera. But you also had the work of, the forerunners of the NHS in South Wales, where Bevan was from, and you had the development of the Labour Party in the years up to that. So it's just the idea that like some magical event could happen that could lead to a radical change in the UK as it is now. I'm highly sceptical. I don't know. What do you think?
I think you're right that you can't put your faith in there just being some kind of event. Nothing that good is going to happen soon, but I take some solace in the fact that political possibilities are never really fixed.
Yes.
And things that happen in one decade would have been unthinkable in another.
Yeah.
And over again, surprising things happen. Right now, there's just a bunch of cronyists who are assailed by nothing. Nothing is really attacking the conservative orthodoxy.
No.
But all they need to do is fall out with each other, which they could do in 2 months, and there'll be huge cracks left and stuff, and things will change.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that if they fall out with each other, they won't just replace and patch it up. But things change, people die, new people appear, there are different possibilities.
Yeah, there's always possibilities, but I think, and I doubt the questioner is saying this. The questioner is doubtless not suggesting that some catalyst could happen and just massively change things. I think if we somehow had King Kong, but if we had Comrade Kong, I think that would change things. I think that would change things pretty fucking quickly.
I don't know. I think we'd probably want a big animal, I think.
Yeah. Or something. No, fuck off! Yeah. Actually, that's why Clifford's red, because he's a comrade. There we go. Clifford the big red dog.
That's the original Red Scare.
I tell you what could change the political climate of the UK as a catalyst that could change it, is that if there is a communist revolution somewhere like outside the imperial core, and they decide that in order for their survival they need to nuke this island.
or just a nuke goes off by accident.
That'd sure change things.
Political possibilities would be really different if Trident just went off.
Actually, fuck it. I'll tell you what, if that did happen, it'd go off in bloody Scotland. So the bit that would be least affected by it would be southeast England, which is the most fucking Tory bit, apart from London.
They'd still be very ill, surely, because there'd be a downwind. I think
we'd be mutating, yeah.
In fact, I think Scotland would get off easy because they just die instantly, whereas everyone else has to deal with the roving bandits, the Fallout 3 universe, the gangrene. So there's plenty to look forward to, is what I'm saying.
Have you ever seen one of my all-time favourite memes? The correlation between the Chernobyl fallout radius and top pornography category.
It's like a corona of hentai, right?
Well, yeah. No, when it's at the core where the radiation was the worst. It's pure hentai, and then as it goes out, where the least radiation is, the more likely you are to get a MILF, which implies that MILF is like the non-radiated brain's norm.
And the only way you'll get into hentai is as a result of mutation in the brain. Like it has a relationship with cancer.
I believe it.
That's really good. Speaking of, let's just dovetail things we believe into this next question.
Okay.
From Darren Hubbard. Hi,
hello, Darren.
Love the pod and look forward to every ep.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Darren.
What is your favourite conspiracy theory that everyone reckons is bollocks, but that you think might have some truth to it?
Yeah, I started the last one. You should start this one. Go on.
Okay, I got two.
Oh, greedy boy.
I got one that I think this is like fits it, and then one that's just a funny one that I don't really believe.
Okay.
I reckon. I reckon.
Best way to start a conspiracy theory, I reckon.
How else would you start
exactly.
I reckon
there is no
according
other
to me,
choice.
Yeah.
I reckon.
IMO. I am HO.
Yeah. Do you take H to be humble or honest?
Oh, I always thought humble. I thought it was a way of low status.
I'm a humble head. Yeah, no, but apparently some people think it's honest. It's like the GIF controversy.
But I assume if you're offering your opinion,
why lie?
Unless there's an IMDO.
In my deceitful opinion.
Yeah, in my dishonest opinion.
Oh no! See, now we've created another one.
Yeah, you're right.
You can see how this gets out of hand, actually. Right, sorry.
Well, I hated. Do you remember early internet where LOL? So every now and again, someone would think you say lots of love. It's like, no, I'm laughing.
Oh, what the fuck?
I don't know you.
What the fuck was that?
Do you remember it?
Oh man. I remember the different spellings of noob, which would be originally an abbreviation of newbie, NEWB.
Were you ever a double zeros guy?
I have never typed N00B, but I have been an N00B.
And when I say it aloud, that's what I mean. Every time I've said noob so far, if you were transcribing this, put the zeros in, please. I reckon Pope John Paul I was assassinated by the Vatican and the Vatican Bank. I reckon that's pretty plausible to me.
Why? Explain yourself.
Well, it's a fun one. I think it's a fun one. Yeah. He only served for 33 days, then died mysteriously. Yes. The Vatican has a rule where they won't do an autopsy on a pope. Yeah, there's a rule. It's a rule. It's a defilement of the body.
Who wrote that rule? Someone put that in who was pope murdering. You only put that rule in if you're planning to murder a pope. Was that
rule was actually only put in the day before.
Yeah. Yeah, did the Pope look over it? What's this? Oh, don't worry,
yeah,
don't worry about
just
that.
Put that in, yeah?
Yeah.
Smell this rag?
Yeah.
Well, you get into these very fun, like almost Phoenix Wright, Ace Detective, pernickety detail squabbles, because the Vatican kept putting out these unnecessarily detailed accounts about what he was doing and even what he was reading. There's this big rabbit hole about the book, and it said he was reading this certain book, I can't remember the name of it, but actually someone else got in touch to go, no, actually the Pope lent that book to me the week before, so he couldn't have been reading on the day of that murder. And he had no he was taking something for his heart, but it was for an issue that was never life-threatening, wasn't connected with heart attacks. There is an account that says it became known to him within his short time within the Vatican, the corruption within the Vatican Bank, and it was thought that he might be a reformer. And then suddenly, shortest papacy, gone.
Fuck. Do you know what? This is connected to the one I'd say.
Yeah.
So I think Jill Dando was killed because she was onto the Jimmy Savile paedophile ring.
Remind me of Jill Dando?
Jill Dando is a news reporter on the programme Crime Watch. Okay. And also just a journalist. And the conspiracy theory goes that in the mid-90s, Jill Dando presented a dossier, a pedo dossier. Okay. There's multiple pedo. So there's the BBC. There's the supposed BBC pedo dossier, which Dando has been associated with by conspiracy theorists. Where they were like, no, there's no pedos here, even though it's like there's at least a document.
There were pedos,
there's pedos, right? And pedo enablers. There's also the Westminster pedo dossier, which is the one from the 80s that mysteriously there was like a massive dossier on all these pedos, and then hundreds of documents just went missing on this this huge pedo dossier. And I think Theresa May, obviously so much shit's happened, Theresa May reopened the thing of like, right, what happened to the pedo dossier? Go find out. And then like every single person that headed it, I think it was originally the head of the NSPCC, they basically do it for like a couple of months and then they quietly just quit. And I think that's gone on forever until maybe at some point they just published it and it was just like an absolute joke report of like, oh yeah, stuff gets lost, like trial by your...
Right, I heard it had this massive turnover. I didn't realise it got published. I thought it got forever spiked. But I knew that people kept quitting, but also people... like very strange appointments kept being made to it of like, why are you heading up the pedo dossier? You're a lollipop man.
Yeah. I think it originally started with the head of the NSPCC, but then by the end it was like Mr. Blobby or something. But yeah, Jill Dando was shot on the doorstep of a house, and they put that it was like a huge investigation by the London Metropolitan Police, the notoriously fucking corrupt London Metropolitan Police, who we've talked about previously as being fucking shit and dodgy. And they put a guy in jail for it. And then I think 8 years later, he was acquitted, and it's still unsolved. Right. There's loads of different conspiracy theories about it. Maybe something to do with like anti-NATO paramilitaries in former Yugoslavia. There's like loads of them. But my favoured conspiracy theory, which I think I have no evidential basis for this other than feeling in my heart that Jill Dando was onto the pedos and they took her out.
That's what you need to be into a conspiracy theory.
Yeah. A hook.
It needs to, on some level, just to sit right with you.
Yeah. So maybe
that just scans.
Yeah. So maybe that Pope was going to out the pedos and be like, "Listen, lads, this isn't on. Actually,
Look into Savile. I've had a word with God.
Yeah.
Look into Savile.
Yeah. You lads can't hide her anymore." It goes into like whatever the pedo wing is of the Vatican, where their little apartment complex, and goes, "Actually, you have to go to prison."
Yeah, I'm probably going to ask you to stop.
Yeah. Stop doing
just
that.
a polite warning before I ask you formally. Wind it down before I make the press conference.
And then they immediately get on the WhatsApp and like, "Listen, we've got to put in a no autopsy rule."
Yeah, no autopsy rule. I've got some arsenic.
Yeah.
A few of the deacons have bought a hammer. A fun one I want to mention is one of the most maybe bizarro conspiracy theories, phantom time hypothesis.
That I'm in just on the title.
So it's a belief that the head of the Holy Roman Empire and the emperor of the Byzantine Empire invented 293 years to place themselves at the year 1000 because they thought that would be really cool. And this is a fringe heterodox historical theory.
What the fuck? I love it.
293 years of the early Middle Ages are fake.
God.
And never happened.
Oh my, I'm really sorry if you're a historian of that period, because hearing that idea must be like destroying brain cells.
Not true.
Yeah, that's not true.
If you do look it up, even the Wikipedia page says this theory is not supported by any historians. And reading that, I thought, that's going to be one of my beliefs. Now I'm having that.
That's what you do with a conspiracy, isn't it? You hear a thing and you go, "Sure, I'm going to choose to believe that."
I'm going to spread that around in smoking areas.
I'm going to spread that around. I'm never going to look into it, because if I look into it, it'll say, "This is wrong.
This makes you an idiot." Coming near to this makes you just an illegitimate thinker. You can be written off if you believe this. Mr. Trousers asks, were there any films, TV shows, music, or video games that you've particularly enjoyed over the last 12 months, not necessarily released this year?
What? Oh my God.
Yeah, this one definitely benefits from peeking the questions in advance.
I have not peeked the questions in advance. I rewatched Deep Space Nine.
Yeah?
Video game Ori and the Will of the Wisps, the sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest by Moon. It's a very good game.
Metroidvania, right?
It's a Metroidvania, but it has not got the vibe of Metroid. It's beautiful in all aspects, visually, in its storytelling, its minimalist storytelling. I like its exploration. I like its traversal, as in like the actual movement of the character. I like the fluidity of it. I like the combat. I like the world. I like the art. It's a very good game.
That sounds good.
The book Walter Rodney's How the West Underdeveloped Africa. That's good. I read that. I'm also like a quarter of the way through about 30 other books. Yeah, that's my answer.
That's a good answer.
What have you consumed?
I just want to give a shout out to Legend of the Galactic Heroes again. I'm always talking to Jack about it, and now I'm going to talk to everyone about it. I never twist the ear of people on this thing, because I know no one's going to like it. I know that no one's going to care.
I know when I get into it that I'm going to love it, but I'm scared because it's big.
It's big. Oh, it's big. I've just started watching Heimat, lent by our friend Ben.
Yeah.
Heimat is a series of films that make up a film. So it's a series, but each episode of the series is a film ranging from like 1 to over 2 hours, and it tells the story of one village in Germany. It starts just at the end of World War One. Zweite Heimat, which is the second one. Maybe there's 3 Heimats. So all of these films are made up of smaller films. And then there's, I don't know how long it would take you to watch the whole thing. Obviously, like days to watch it all back to back. Yeah. They do like parties in Germany where people would go see one and then they'd go like hang out and then they'd go see another one at the cinemas because you wouldn't be able to get through it otherwise. And it just tells the story of everyone who lives in this tiny village.
There's a village called Heimat?
No, Heimat means homeland or motherland in German. I can't remember the name of the place.
Oh, there's also a TV show, Homeland, which is fucked.
Oh, I don't know that.
Yeah, it's the original version was an Israeli TV show, and then it was adapted by the United States, and it's about like a US soldier who gets radicalized into, quote, radical Islamism, end quote.
Oh, no.
It's bad. Yeah, but that sounds like a very different show.
Okay, I'm just going to go on a rant about how much I love Legend of the Galactic Heroes.
Yeah, go. License.
Thank
you, Mr. Trousers.
So, Legend of the Galactic Heroes was a novel series written by Yoshiki Tanaka, a sci-fi author, in the early to mid to late 80s.
Okay.
And it is a space opera.
Yeah.
It was made into an original video animation anime, which was only available to members of a specific book club.
Sean went on to talk in detail about Legend of the Galactic Heroes for a further 9 minutes. We have elected not to include that here, but Sean will make his case separately for Legend of the Galactic Heroes on Patreon if there is demand. I am also happy to do the same for Star Trek Deep Space Nine, which in its own way is a Legend of Galactic Heroes. Back to the ep.
This comes in from Eddie Hurst.
Yeah.
Relating to our last episode, Brain Flavors, he asks, do you reckon being a bit mentally unwell makes you go to the left politically? It might be that I spend more time with divergent neurofolk and also in leftist circles, but maybe it's also that anyone experiences life not as the norm, maybe gain some empathy for others who experience that.
I don't know. I've never read any like empirical stuff on this. But what I would say, I mean, I think we can encompass a lot of things in like mentally unwell. Mentally unwell, I guess, means depression and stuff. But then neurodivergent is not mental health; it's like a slightly different thing. But let's take neurodivergent because presumably it's bouncing off the previous episode, right? People who are neurodivergent tend to have problems with a world that is built around neurotypicals, right? And that is also a world that is, you know, capitalist, patriarchal, white supremacist, etc., etc. But the neurotypicality is kind of built into that. So to an extent, there's this experience of this world is not for me and I would like to change it, which may well manifest as leftism, I think. I think that's, I've never seen any empirical stuff on it, but that feels intuitively right to me. What do you think?
I'm happy just to come right out and say that autism is comorbid with communism. just flat and dry, nothing to elaborate on. There is one thing, which is you can imagine a kind of an autistic stereotype of being like very principled and sticking to what they think is obviously the best idea, and not like necessarily bending to like the tides of political modernity and being like, obviously this method of polity which I've read about seems like a good idea. I'm not going to be swayed on that. Like I think there is quite a lot of like anarchism, communism, leftism, socialism in like the autistic community for reasons that in my head canon I associate with that kind of thing. Again, I don't know any empirical studies on this kind of thing. I think there is also there's a lot of descriptions of neurodivergence, particularly ADHD and autism, children as being very precocious and them having like a different relationship with like lifelong learning. And I guess that might get you into a mindset of finding out about something like this, because I think there's a gap that you have to leap over a little bit. And if you have that relationship with going, I'm excited about this new idea, that might help you get over that gap a bit quicker and help you get introduced to things that are intentionally socially hidden away, like forbidden arcane ideas. And again, your life will fucking suck, so you want things to be different. So all those things together, I think it'll combine to give you a predisposition, I think.
Yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it? Eddie, I think you're right.
Anyone who's in any waiting list as a result of the last episode, please say that you're a socialist to the diagnostician and tell them to take that seriously as a symptom. Real Soz asks, as we all try to live on the world and not be morally bankrupt, in brackets, no ethical consumption, and then some ellipses, what esoteric and hypocritical red lines have you found yourself drawing with regards to being a customer? I won't buy Warburton's bread because they're Tory donors, and I avoid Nestle because they kill babies.
Yeah.
And they want to privatize all the water in the world.
Yeah.
And drip feed us to like Immortan Joe. I don't know who Immortan Joe is.
Mad Max.
I got it.
Yeah.
But I also have bought video games published by sexual predators, and I've definitely in one way or another helped Jeff take his best friend Bill into space for a fucking jolly. So I'm interested in any things you avoid and how you came to that conclusion, like how you feel about eating McDonald's, for instance. I think it largely comes down to what's easy to avoid and what is hard, rather than specific moral transgressions of the enterprise itself.
What was their name? Soz? Their name shouldn't be Soz. Their name should be
real because. With an explanation like
that. Yeah. I think that's it, isn't it? I think like it's very difficult to buy stuff from like Evil Corp. Because you can't help the liberalism that's just floating around in culture, which is this notion that you can have like an ethical consumption, right? Because that is now that is co-opted. Ethical consumption is co-opted, and we talk about you might talk about how now it's great that there's more vegan and vegetarian options than there were like 15 years ago in supermarkets and restaurants, but that's happened because they've realised there's a market and there's more. I don't know. Fucking refillable washing up liquid things because someone's figured out that that's profitable. But then at the same time, who the fuck knows? I mean, they're right. I think the way they worded the question is like, it's just fucking, it is arbitrary, isn't it? At some point you draw, what was I say? They said like a red line. You have your red lines and like, I think I'm the same as them where like Warburton's Tory donors, fuck that. Nestle, water monopolising baby killers, fuck that. But then there'll be something that like, Warburton's and Nestle own that you don't even realise is owned by them because it's so many shell companies removed or whatever. Yeah, I think they're probably right that it's like the extent to which you can avoid it. Like United Utilities aren't necessarily very nice to their workers and they don't do a very good job of looking after the water, but got a drink. But then I think that notion of like, into the wild, just fucking reject all consumption, put it all on the individual stuff is also has its major fucking limitations. And also it's premised upon like, it seems to be a rejection of capitalism, doesn't it? Because you're like rejecting consumerism. But what it actually is embracing the very premises of capitalism, which is that your agency as an individual is assumed by what you do and do not consume. Would you agree, Sean? I don't know. I've just waffled about it.
Oh no, I think I've got nothing to add to it. I think everyone goes through, like the galaxy brains of just you have one thought that supersedes the other as more and more photons come out of your skull. Where you start off and you're like, some things are bad, some things that they're not as bad. I'm sure they're still bad. They're still exploitative. They're still part of capitalism, but. Maybe in what small way me perusing the shelves can help change the course of history. Grab this over this. I'm a saint. But then you end up going, okay, well, there needs to be some consistency. So you end up loading so many restrictions onto yourself that like going to the shops becomes like going through a maze. And then you realise at some point, okay, I can't do this. I can't. There is no morally consistent line which still doesn't ask me to do too much. It's too unreasonable because it also requires a high level of research that is constant because everything's being acquired by these umbrella corporations. It's so hard to operate outside those lines without also just massively creating like these boutique middle class consumer habits of people delivering you bespoke stuff. You can't live like that. And then you kind of go, well, this is fucked. Consumerism of any kind isn't going to help us. We just need activism. We just need a different kind of politic. But you then pick up a few more red lines that now you go, these are just grudges. These are just bugbears. I wouldn't moralize something about them. These are my consumer grudges. And I advocate for those.
I like bringing in stuff when I just don't really like. So I don't really like Toblerone, right? But I remember there was this article fucking years ago that said like, Toblerone is the least moral chocolate you can buy. I can't remember why. It was something like whoever owned Toblerone was also like an arms manufacturer that made carbon cluster bombs. That's what it's called. And I remember being like, I just remember as a teenager being like, I don't want Toblerone. Fucking, they're in the bed with arms dealers. But what I meant is I don't like Toblerone.
Yeah. Toblerone's also really avoidable.
Yeah.
When you're in a position where you're like, fuck, I'm going to have to save face. I'm going to have a Toblerone. Like it really, really pushes you to make a sacrifice. Why did you kick Jack out? He wouldn't have the Toblerone.
That fucking Toblerone rejected his triangle form.
Started talking about cluster bombs. Josie asks, why do you guys know so much? Is your knowledge accumulated, or do you specifically research for each episode?
Are we that knowledgeable? I don't know. We've done a lot of episodes, so it seems like it, but we're always just talking about, you only bring up stuff you know about. If you did 80 episodes of a podcast, you'd keep saying things and it would seem like you knew loads and loads, Josie. So we generally, when we're like talking like this, we are most of the time just winging it, because if we don't wing it, we'd end up really hedging or like over researching a thing. And instead of listening to each other, looking at our notes, which makes for bad Mandos, friends, makes for Mandos in the recycle bin. But if we do like an explainer where we've written it and it's got like normally a musical bed underneath it, then we've probably thought about it a lot more. Does that sound sane?
What I will say is that a question like this makes me uncomfortable, because sort of like what on the onset of the podcast was this idea of like politics is for everyone, it shouldn't be. I don't want me and you to be like, you got to listen to
here's
us
the knowledge from the
mountain.
No, we don't want to be like that at all.
I think there is some aspect to me and Jack specifically that we're very magpie-ish, and we pick up lots of little trinkets, and we happen to know a little bit about a lot of unusual little arcane things, and that's what becomes like the stepping stones for the conversation. But what we normally do is we just empty out what's in our head, then we cut out anything that later we find out was wrong.
Mostly. We usually catch it, sometimes we don't.
So we just say whatever we think, but we're not like thinking in terms of sources. So someone will normally make one of those segments where like one of us has done research and it's got music and it's got a bit of production value, and that's one of us that's gone out and learned something, and if we learn some other claim we've made is wrong in that time, we just slice that out and just make sure the heavy lifting's done by a little bit of
I mean, it's quite, you probably spend, it's a fair few hours to do the research. You properly research a thing to the extent that we're not professional journalists. You read a lot of stuff and you think a lot about it, and then record it and make the music / soundscape stuff for it.
Like you find the books you need to look at. And then sometimes just the sections in those books you need to read. You're trying to get them in as early as possible. You make a skeleton of the script. Then you go on a lot of walks. Then you finish the script. Yeah. I think a lot of the stuff's done invisibly in those walks.
Yeah, your brain works. I think you initially absorb, it's like a human centipede. There's like level, human 1 in the centipede reads the books, and then it goes down or just a regular digestive system.
Yeah, I don't think there's lots of things that move through stages. Just needed a human centipede.
I think this may be more reflective of my relationship with the explainers than.
I think you're finding a very subtle and esoteric way to be down on yourself,
and to convey that actually we're not that smart, and so often we're talking shit. To return to my original answer, chat, we're just chatting. Music underneath it, only one of us. That is something that's a bit more considered.
There you go. Andy asks, thanks for the NFT reward for 13,158 minutes listened. Before I get the tweet printed onto a tee, is there any chance of funding our parasocial relationship through official Mandos merch in the new year?
Oh, God.
He's also asked if there's any chance of us doing a Bristol live show in the new year, and also requests a shout-out for their highly politicised D&D group, Division Team Force, who introduced them to the show.
Well done, Division Team Force.
Thank you, DTF.
Yeah, I think merch circles back to the question before of like, you think, oh, well, is there a way to do this that isn't dubious? No. With like, which I don't think there is. Well, unless you're like, going to sell a mug for £15.
I looked into this a lot because I needed merch for other stuff. and spent quite a while looking at the outlay of all the possibilities.
Yeah.
One of the big emphases is not costing £20 for a mug, and then set some stuff up, and then Brexit destroyed it all because all of the shipping and a lot of that stuff comes from Europe where it could be made of quite affordably and then just shipped over. Not possible now. There isn't a good or useful way of doing it. If we're talking the normal merchandise stuff, which is like designs on ceramics and cotton. But if we could think of something or find something, are people I'm happy to put the time in and work something out. Well, what would people like to have? A button?
a badge?
Skin? Yeah. A little poem in a baggie.
Bristol show. We've done live shows before and we want to do live shows again. That may well happen. No promises right now because everything's going fucked again and we've just pulled a load of comedy gigs. But certainly deeper into 2022 when the live comedy scene's a little bit less terrifying. Yeah, we'll do stuff and we'll try and do it in a bunch of places. Yeah, sounds good.
Sarah Hall asks, what have been some of your fave Mandos moments of 21? Any particular bits you're proud of or topics you really wanted to cover?
Oh, as in like stuff we didn't get to cover?
This is a big
question. Stuff we didn't get to cover, sure, but we've already teased some 2022, so I don't want to deploy a list.
I'm equally unwilling because anything I want to cover, I still will go on to cover it.
I don't know if anyone notices this, but we do try to make the episodes sort of just, you could listen to them at any time. Generally, we try not to make them like, here's an update on this week's news.
And we see people coming in, they come on board and people say that they watched an episode, they listen to an episode and they go back.
And that's our intent. That was our intent.
Great.
Yeah, that was our intent. I don't know if everyone's aware of that, but that is what we try to do. Favourites. What's your favourite, Sean?
I think the thing that we did that's had the most impact is that we basically gave a much needed platform to the Northern Independence Party and basically kick-started the whole thing. I really think we gave them the shot in the arm, and then when the North is a completely separated country, it's nice to be like, oh, I did that, sort of. I know this is a political party.
Wings. Yeah.
This is a political party whose leader recently just lifted a joke verbatim from our podcast and tweeted it like it was his own idea.
Yeah. But you do you, Phil.
That's clout. That's clout. I mean, obviously, you know,
the real heads
got the joke from, but
the real heads are DMing us going, you know, Phil's just lifted a Mandos quote verbatim.
Yeah.
Just and then just go, I'm going to like it.
Yeah, like and retweet it. Good joke.
Yeah, it's good, yeah.
Funny, we can get that from Jacobin for their new card game.
Fucking parasites. Phil can do what he wants. Jacobin can fuck off. That was a good interview, the Nip interview. I think Phil was really good. And that came about because of this episode last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think someone asked us about the Northern Independence Party.
Oh, yeah. And this year we've told Jacobin to fuck off. So onwards and upwards.
They shot first. They drew first blood.
From Granite Tide, I would like to know. That's how I would say it.
Wow,
Granite
that's a cool
Tide.
Name. Yeah. Granite Tide.
I would like to know how Jack and Sean feel about the lyrics "robbing the nation of all emotion, making children forget about mouths." And they attach to this question a screenshot of someone writing in a Facebook Messenger saying, "Well, I went in Morrison's and left immediately. There is a group of anti-maskers protesting inside Morrison's, shouting and singing stupid stuff." And then in quotes, "robbing the nation of all emotion, making the children forget about mouths."
I don't know about you, but in a mask, I'm hyper conscious of my mouth. I don't cease to believe I have a mouth because mouth is covered. My mouth is covered. Other people's mouths are covered. But then I also know, I know my mouth is behind my mask. So do you know what I think's behind their masks? Mouths. That is why they need to wear masks, and also noses. But I think that is the fact that they're only emphasising the mouth is a symptom of the anti-masker, right?
They haven't spent long enough with the mask guidance to have a correct song.
Yeah. Should be mouth. Children forget about mouths and noses.
The child could become like a mouth solipsist, where they're like, I got the mouth. I know, like Descartes. I know that I have a mouth.
I mouth, therefore I am.
I mouth, therefore I have a mouth.
Yeah.
I have a mouth and I will scream. But I can't speak for anyone else.
The anti-mask is going to be showing, that bit from The Matrix where Neo's mouth starts closing up. The CG, yeah.
This is what your children's future is. How can you make a phone call now?
Yeah. I mean, I want to know how they were singing them. Because when you first just asked, what do you think about those lyrics? I was like, are these fucking Manic Street Preachers lyrics?
I've been trying to map it onto a tune all day, but it doesn't fit anything.
Because that's how I hear my head, as like a sort of Manic Street Preachers style, like over like guitars going, robbing the nation of all emotion, making children forget about their mouths.
It reminds me, there's a Piers Corbyn social media video, and in that he's singing a song on the London Underground that says that trying to keep your breath in your mask is like trying to keep a fart in your trousers. And he sings that like it's an anthem while walking the length of an underground tube train.
Bittersweet Symphony.
Yeah, I think they probably are going precisely for Bittersweet Symphony, but it looks more like the music video for Vindaloo, which was ripping that off.
Ripping off Badil. That sounds bad.
It's very bad.
So yeah, a Granite Tide. I think my main critique of the lyrics is I would love to hear the melody, which is not a critique, it's a question. And my critique, I suppose, is logically we would assume that they would say mouths and noses.
Yeah, and if you can speak to your friend, get them just to send the melody along. This could be through Guitar Tab, but obviously sheet music would be preferred because
Guitar Tab doesn't
tell us doesn't have the rhythm and meter. Exactly, you don't know how long a note is held for.
Time signature as well, actually, we need.
Yeah, I think it'll be 4/4. I think we can assume.
Could be a waltz.
Yeah, I'd love it to be a waltz. That would get me anti-vax overnight. Sean F. Smith asks, what is best of eggs?
Fabergé.
Oh.
Or mini.
Mini, not cream?
I hate cream egg. What? I love egg. I love egg from chicken. I've had egg from duck, deluxe. I like Easter egg. I don't like the packaging.
Good egg.
Don't like the packaging, but I like the thinness, that chocolate and the egg shape are great. I haven't had it for years, but it's very good. Mini egg.
I don't like mini egg.
You don't like mini egg? You don't like its
I like cream egg.
You like cream egg.
I don't like mini egg.
I am a big sugar. I also just love saying egg. Egg.
There needs to be a vowel on the end. If you're not doing a vowel on the end, you're not enjoying yourself.
Egg. I love a mini egg. I'm a big sugar head, right? So you'd think I'd be on the cream egg because the cream egg is like Sugar Town, USA. I don't like the taste of the cream egg core, Sean.
What about the texture?
No. Any of it. It is a Venn diagram of ick. I do not like the cream egg. And I thought I would. I remember as a child thinking, wow, this egg looks great. And I remember, a cream egg, like when you're a child, you're small. So the cream egg is much larger. And it's just, I didn't like it. I
was always confused about the How Do You Eat Yours campaign because I've never really seen that much variation in the wild.
Right. What is the way to eat it? Put it in this is how I assume you eat it. You put it in your mouth in one, and then you hold it to slowly melt until it's all melted. And then you swallow it in one like a duck.
Oh, I don't think you swallow. I don't think you initiate your I just think you let it slide down. I think the aim is to keep it off your tongue, no taste, and then just tilt the head back and then just let the whole thing down. Never swallow. Yeah. You've got to manually, with your hands, massage it down the esophagus.
It's like a suppository for your mouth.
Yeah, if you taste it once, like Whamageddon, if you taste it even once, you're out for the year.
What is your favourite way to have an egg? Like an egg. What if Sean was just asking about egg? Chicken.
I prepare my eggs very lazily.
Yes.
But if I go out, someone will make a Benedict or something, I'll say, hell yes.
Fucking the Benny rules.
This Monday I walked up to a dam, and by the dam there's a little calf, and they gave me a poached egg on sour bread. I'm not going to say no to that. I had to pay for it.
All right.
They gave me as part of it, but I made it sound more...
There was an exchange, yeah.
I made it sound more interesting. Yeah, I bought it like a fucking prole.
Fucking love a Benedict in almost any context.
Once in a blue moon now, because I'm not going out, and I'm never going to make myself a Benedict. If I'm making an egg, I will just fry it, steam it, put the steam on so it fries the top without you spinning it, and I put it upside down on a crumpet, and I'm done.
I once saw a woman going through security with eggs in an airport, hard-boiled eggs, numerous. And the security people were like, "What's the deal with these?" And she was like, "No, they're hard-boiled, because obviously you can't have liquids."
Right.
So I think they made her demonstrate that they were hard-boiled. Although maybe she had one prepped that was hard. There was a big kerfuffle.
How did she demonstrate it?
She cracked it. She wasted an egg. She was
you can check the contents without cracking. Do you know how you?
Well, she didn't know that.
Do you want to know it?
Yeah, and the listener has to want to know as well. Now, someone's going to.
No, it doesn't matter if they have happened to want. It's my podcast in part. I'm going to tell you how you test an egg. Obviously, we can edit it out if it doesn't do well with the focus group. But
me.
Jack later could be like, that was shit. That's gone. If you're hard-boiling an egg and you spin it and then quickly stop it, if it's still got liquid in there, the liquid will keep spinning and make the egg start spinning again. But if it's all hard, you stop it stays stopped.
And as soon as I tried to do that, if I went, do you know you can try to test an egg
and
spin it, I'd smash it. I'd smash it.
You need a delicate and gentle hand. Yeah. Could be something for you to learn.
Mandatory Redistribution Party was created and produced by Sean Morley and Jack Lewis Evans. Our title theme was created by Ella Jean with additional music by Jack Lewis Evans. Thank you so much for listening, and special thanks to those of you who got in touch with questions. I'm sorry we couldn't cover everything. Hope you have a lovely Christmas and New Year's. Stay safe and see you again in 2022. Big love, good vibes. That is from both me and Sean.